warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, it is a good chance for me to have presentation. I'm going to present the presentation on educational methods. Before I'm going to the presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Rustiani Widiasih. I'm a teacher. I'm teaching in SMA Badekan Ponorogo. Well, the title of my presentation is Improving Education Quality Through Lesson Study. In this presentation, I'm going to divide into three parts. First, the reality of education in Indonesia, and then second, what things should be changed by Indonesian teachers in teaching, and third, lesson study. Okay, before I'm going to discuss about that, I will show you a table. It is the result of research done by Human Development, UNDP. We can see here the position of Indonesia in the world. The position of Indonesia is 110, below Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. This fact really make Indonesian people sad. And we can also see the reality in the society. We can find the social inequality in our surrounding. The children should study at school, but in fact they do the activity like singing for the money, baking, and others. We can also see the culture in Indonesia society. They tend not to discipline in the street, in the place, where they should actually they have to do the queue, but in fact they do not do it. And also we can find the teacher in teaching in the classroom tend to do the learning process, not the student center but the teacher center. Well, there are some factors why Indonesia education quality is low. First, the learning process is not developed by the teacher maximally. So in the classroom, the teachers do not arrange the learning and teaching process in a good way. Most teachers teach without a good preparation. And also, they sometimes never decide the best evaluation for the students. The next, the teacher teaching individually instead of teaching collaboratively or team teaching. Yes, in fact, team teaching actually is effective to improve the quality of education, because when a teacher is teaching and another teacher is evaluating their friends teaching, they will get a better result. The next, teacher organization like MGMP doesn't work maximally. In Indonesia, most teachers organization like MGMP just gathering the teacher without having a good program, just like making the lesson plan, syllabus, and so on. And actually, MGMP can be function as a good place for the teacher to evaluate themselves. The next, there is no teacher study center in school. Well, we can find cooperation in school, we can find canteen in school, we can find yes, teacher gathering or arisan in school, but we cannot find the study center for the teacher in a school. So the study center can be functions as the media to evaluate, to do the evaluation, planning for the teachers actually. The next, most teachers haven't got teachers competence. Well, Indonesia government has arranged how is the qualified the competent teachers. The competent teacher must have the pedagogic competence, professional competence, personal competence, and also social competence. Well, in this case, the government provide the certification for the teacher who has competence in teaching. But in fact, still many other teachers do not have this competence. Pedagogic competence, for example, it is the ability of teacher in making the lesson plan, making the evaluation, and making the innovation in teaching. Professional competence is the ability of teacher to be a good teacher, and personal competence consists of ability of a teacher to be a good person, to be a kind, to be friendly teacher. And social competence is the teacher competence to communicate with other teacher, to the society, and to the environment. So, the teacher, the Indonesian teacher, must change. We have academic culture. We should have the academic culture in the school. Academic culture consists of, there are so many others of academic culture that can be created by the teacher. For example, scientific group in a school, seminar, workshops, and many others. Then teacher telling what we have done before, what the teacher do in the classroom before is teacher telling. It should be changed with the student learning. If the teacher only telling, it means that the teacher only transferring the knowledge to the student. But what must the teacher do is focusing the learning process to the students. So students learn The next, knowledge and skills that the student get must be added by one more thing, that is a value. We know that there are some programs that will be developed in this country, like character building, and also the integrated of science. And what the teacher do in the classroom is teacher telling, so it is transferring the knowledge to the student. It should be changed. The teacher must be focusing the study to the student, so it will be student learning. Next, academic culture. The teacher, the school have to create the academic culture in the school. The example of academic culture activity is like seminar, workshop, the scientific competition, and many others. Sorry mas, kok balik lagi? Sebentar. Ini kembali lagi. Knowledge and skills versus knowledge, skills, and value. What I mean in this slide is recently, right now, most teachers only give the transferring the knowledge and skills to the student, but it is not enough. There is one more thing, that is value. The example of integrating value to the knowledge of the student is by correlating the knowledge with the value. For example, the religion value, the integration of science with the religion, the integration of IMTAK in Indonesia and IPTEK, and so on. The next, learning and learning habits. The teacher task is to develop the learning habit for the student. Students study not only for their duty, but they study because of a habit. They study of the necessity. It is what I mean by learning habit. And then the teacher must create the clean and comfortable environment instead of dirty environment. Why it is useful for our student? Because it has relation to the previous discussion about habit. Whenever a student are usual to do something, it will be habit. And whenever the student do it every time, it will be a culture. So in this case, it is possible, very possible, if the teacher train the student to live in a healthy and clean way. For example, never throw the rubbish anywhere, and so on. Okay, and the next is create the school as a open community instead of closed community. What I mean by open community is a school is open for everybody. Everyone can come to the school, and also students can learn not only in the school itself, but they can learn from outside the school. They can learn from the factory, they can learn from the environment, the surrounding, and many others. Well, how to create, how to make the, how to, sorry ini nanti cut, how to solve, how to improve the quality of education in Indonesia. Okay, the answer, one of the possibilities how to improve the quality, the education astagfirullah, improve the quality of education in Indonesia. One of possibilities is using lesson study. What is lesson study? Okay, here is, in this part I'm going to discuss about lesson study. There are three steps in doing lesson study. First, plan. Okay, before I'm going to explain about the plan activity, I'm going to tell you what is lesson study actually. Lesson study is a model of teachers' profession development through collaborative learning evaluation based on collegiate learning to develop the quality of learning community. So, here, in the learning, there is a balance between mind and heart or feeling. And here is the process. First, plan. Here, the teachers, a group of teachers, planning the study based on the student's problem. And then the next two. In these steps, the teachers doing the learning process and doing the evaluation. Because in the after the plan, there is a activity that is teaching. Teaching is applying whatever they have in the plan. And then in two activity, there will be two main activities. They are teaching and evaluating the teachers who is teaching. And the next step is C. It is a reflecting and evaluating of the teacher in teaching. Okay. Well, I'm going to describe further about lesson study. As I said before, that the lesson study consists of 3 steps. Here is the step is planning, observation, and using the data from the teacher use reflection. The goal of lesson study is improving the knowledge of the subject or material. It means that the teacher will master the material maximally. The next is improving the knowledge of learning and teaching activities. Here, teacher can improve their ability how to make the classroom interesting, how to make students have high motivation in learning, and then improving the ability of observation activities. It is very useful for a teacher because the teacher task is not only teaching the student. The teacher must also develop their self-skill. So by doing evaluation, the teacher will be able to evaluate themselves to be better. The next, improving the quality of lesson plan. As we know that lesson plan is a very essential part in teaching. If the lesson plan is good, the result, the activity of teaching and learning process will be good. So here is the advantage of lesson study. The next, improving the teacher relationship among other teachers. So a good teacher, as I stated before, must have ability in communicate with other teachers. And then improving the motivation to do self-development. What it is, as I said before, it is that the teacher task is not only teaching to the student, but they must improve themselves. So after doing the lesson study, it is hoped that the teacher will be competent in doing their job. They will have pedagogic competence too, and also the education in Indonesia generally will be improved. Okay, here I would like to give an example of activity in lesson plan. First, planning. As we can see in the picture, some teacher gather in a classroom, in a part, they discuss about the problem, what student problem, what are their problems in learning. And then after that, one of the teacher, as you can see in the picture here, is teaching the student, while other teacher evaluate their activity. And the last, the teacher come together, put the mind together again to discuss, to have reflection. What is the advantage, what is the disadvantage of using the plan, and then they, after this activity, they try to evaluate, to correct, to develop, and then the result of this will be very useful for them in the next teaching. In the planning, the teacher can develop their problems into a lesson plan, and then in 2 steps, a teacher who is teaching here is observed by other teacher, and the C process, a group of teachers do the sharing lesson. They learn about student learning activity. The benefit of lesson study is, as we know, that the government have the PP. It is the implementation of PP, Peraturan Pemerintah number 19. It is said in this regulation that the process of learning and teaching must be done interactively, inspiring, motivating, and challenging the students. That's why by doing the lesson plan, the teacher can apply the government's rule. And also, lesson study create professional learning community. Professional learning community consists of growing a learning culture, and then nurturing trust and relationship, offering learning opportunities, promoting inquiry mindedness, making connections, creating and transferring knowledge, ensuring supportive structure, and working toward sustainability. Finally, I can conclude that lesson study can improve the academic culture and also improve the teacher's competence. There is no perfect learning and teaching process. That's why there is always ways to do the innovation and evaluation. Okay, that is what I can say about the lesson study. I will be very happy to answer your question and to listen to your suggestion if you have any.
Well, my question is how to apply lesson plan in our school.
Okay, thank you. Very good question. Well, anyway, excuse me, how many English teachers do you have in your school?
There are 3 English teachers.
Okay, that's good. Well, I will try to answer your question. Well, you have 3 English teachers in your school. It's good. Well, what you have to do is, first, please try to put your mind together with your friend. Find the right time whenever you free from your job as a teacher outside the classroom. Sit together and discuss. Every teacher will have problem in learning. Discuss with your friend and try to make a lesson plan. Try to make lesson plan. After that, in a whole, of course, how you do the pre-learning activity, in-learning activity, and post-learning activity in a whole. And please try to find the teaching method. There are so many teaching methods that will be suitable for your students. After that, please try to apply the plan in the classroom. One of the three teachers will be the teacher who is teaching in the classroom, and another two teacher will be the evaluator, will be your partner who will sit in the back row maybe, or who will join in the classroom, and they will evaluate whatever the teacher is teaching. And they also will observe how far the student understanding and so on. Actually, this lesson plan has been done by the kindergarten teacher, and it will be very good if the SMR teacher apply this lesson study in the classroom. Okay, after that you come together again after you have teaching, after you do the 2 activity or C activity. The next is the teacher discuss what is the advantage or disadvantage, what is the good point of the method, maybe what is the something missing maybe. Okay, this is my question, my answer. Do I answer your question?
Yeah, so it means we have to do team teaching.
Yes, you're right. Is there any problem? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your attention. And finally, I will say goodbye. Have a nice time. Be a good teacher. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.